Late this afternoon, the search for Cheney, Goodman, and Schwerner shifted to the Pearl River near Philadelphia, Mississippi. Boats carrying game wardens and FBI agents are now dragging the river.
Have you seen the spot down here, sir?
That's right.
What do you think of this?
I believe him joke was planned and setting off up there in New York laughing at us Mississippi folk.
Can you tell me what you think of this whole thing?
Well, I believe it's a big publicity hoax, but if they're dead, I feel like they asked for it.
In the summer of 1964, Andy Goodman got training in how to register African Americans to vote as part of the growing civil rights movement in America.
People should be expected to get beaten. They should expect to spend in jail, and it may go beyond the summer when they're in jail, and that they should expect possibly somebody to get killed.
Then he traveled to Mississippi and wrote this postcard to say that he had arrived safely. "The people in this city are wonderful," he wrote, "and our reception was very good." The postmark, June 21st, 1964. That was the same day Goodman and fellow civil rights workers James Cheney and Mickey Schwerner went missing.
They were stopped by the police, accused of speeding. They were put in jail, and they were not allowed to make a phone call. And they were released at night. They got back in the car, and the Ku Klux Klan nabbed them.
For the latest on the search for the three missing boys,
The men's disappearance made national headlines. President Lyndon Johnson ordered federal agents to Mississippi.
I asked Hoover 2 weeks ago, after talking to the Attorney General, to fill up Mississippi with FBI men and infiltrate everything he could. What do they think happened? Think they got killed?
This morning they had absolutely no trace. There's no sign of the automobile. They have found nobody who's seen the car or the three people. So as far as they're concerned, they just disappeared from the face of the earth.
It wasn't until August 4th, 1964, that their bodies were found.
Thousands of law enforcement agents for 44 days were looking for my brother's body and James and Mickey. They dredged out of the swamps 9 black bodies who no one had even heard of. There's multiple levels of tragedy in this story. One of them that is most poignant for me, besides losing my brother, was that it took 2 white kids to legitimize the tragedy of being murdered if you wanted to vote.
I had to show that tragic story there once again about the civil rights workers there in Mississippi that lost their lives standing up for what's right. And as you saw that classroom, you saw a lot of white students, young people in there, didn't you? And the reason why I want to talk about this particular message is we want to focus in on these little Christian nationalist people that you see on YouTube. I got a couple of them there on the thumbnail, but that's not all of them. This is what you have is with this large movement of these Christian nationalists and these white nationalist churches and all of these people that profess to love the Lord, profess to be prophets, profess to be watchmen, profess to be all of these things linked to hearing from the Lord, as they will say. But if you notice a couple things, there's several things you can notice about them. With all of what's going on within society, these folks, I believe, are nothing but a modern day segregation style mindset people. They think they're fooling somebody. They think they're slick. But if you notice, none of their messages never talk about the mistreatment that is currently happening to people of color. You don't hear nothing from them on that. You don't hear nothing from them about people being starved to death across the nation and the world. You don't hear them talk about anything with the elderly and lack of health care and the mistreatment in that type of way, the poor, and about this, the places that give out food that are underfunded and people that are not getting their medicine. You don't hear nothing. All you hear from them is something of tragedy, something of scare tactics, something of worship of politicians in the form of Donald Trump, and it's nothing related to standing up for something. They don't have any spine, because I come to the conclusion, there's only some of these things that I've come to the conclusion. Either they are segregationists and believe in white nationalism, they are either just flat out lying, and then or they just don't care. Either one of them, guess what? All of them are wrong. Because why would they sit there and you never hear nothing from these folks about anything else but these things? But what it is they support a movement that supports segregation, a modern style segregation. This is all they are. This is Mississippi back in the 1950s and 60s all over again is what it is. Because they think they're slick with their little religious schools. That's a form of segregation. That's all it is because the funding of these religious right organizations has plenty of money. And then they'll get the money from the right-wing folks, within the political system to fund these religious ideology schools is what they want to do. And no black kids and people of color are not going to be able to go to these schools because it's going to be in the various areas that are very nice. And then you're going to have these other charter schools that are out here that are underfunded, minorities and everybody that's be pushed over on this side. It's a slick method is what they do. When you look at these functions that you see that they always put on, there's not many people of color in there at all. I mean, you're always going to have a few in there, the Clarence Thomas's type, that's going to be in these types of events. But if you notice, everything they do, everything that they're doing is a pushback of people of color, any type of progress. They're coming for everything. They're coming for it all. I told you, I'm going to show you a clip that someone has shared with me. I'll do that maybe later this week or next week or whenever I feel led to get it up about it. They're coming after interracial marriage. I mean, all of these things are on the block with these people. They want to go back. So when you see these Troy Blacks and these Brandon Biggs and these Amanda Graces and everybody else that pushes Donald Trump, and they never push back on anything that the man does, this tells me right here that they are nothing but not only a Christian nationalist, but they're a white nationalist, and they support racism to the core, period. Because anybody that says they love the Lord, anybody that says that they are a Christ-believing Christian should have something to say. Have something to say like, wait a minute, man. You got to do something. Just like you saw them young people, all of them young white people, back then, there was plenty of them. They knew they put their lives on the line along with other blacks and other people of color. They put their lives on the line because they knew it was wrong for people not to have the right to vote. And here we go in 2025. Rights up, the voting is trying to be torn down again. It's always been some barriers in areas, poor areas, people of color, always something, some type of attack. It's just always something against people that are just the lowest in society. And these people that you see that always want to get on here and tell you that they heard something from the Lord with some of these silly messages that they continue to bring forth, that they don't ever have any standing on anything that you see that is wrong. So it's either they don't care or either they subscribe to it. That's what it is. So we have to call it like it is. These folks, as far as I'm concerned, if you stand with some of these hateful things that are going on, you are a racist. You don't care about what's going on towards people of color, towards people that may not be saved, towards people that don't identify with your political party, towards people that may be living an alternative lifestyle, towards all of that. It shows me that you don't care, as I mentioned, or you're lying on the Lord and you just doing it for gain, or you're flat out racist, segregationist, and so any of them are bad, really bad, and especially lying on the Lord. And, it has to be called out. These folks that are on here parading like they're just doing the Lord's service. And it's just ironic that I guess the Lord has nothing else to think about and we're concerned about in society. I guess if Jesus was here, I guess he would be spending his time in the White House 99.9% of the time, and not out there with the people, not out there with the homeless, not out there with the mother that's the single mother, not out there with those that just don't have enough to eat. I guess he wouldn't be involved. He would be in a White House sitting there figuring out some type of rule to where he can put a stranglehold around a particular group of people. I guess that's what he would be doing, because that's what they are literally pushing, making like Jesus is about. They just making that Jesus is this authoritarian, that we've got to make sure that we've got the government sector in every section to put the stranglehold upon people's necks. And we're going to tell them we're Christian. We're going to tell them we want what's right for you. We're going to tell them all of these things. And no wonder people will spit in your face and laugh in your face because they know you're a fraud. And we're going to call out these frauds on the channel. We'll continue to talk about the issues the church went away from and tackle Satan and his tactics of punching right in between the chops. Evangelists for God's channel. My name is Maurice Braxton. We ain't going to put up with this crap. We're not going to put up with their little shenanigans, because they need to be called out for who they truly are. Until the next video, my friends, take care. God bless.